What's up, family? I'll talk to you guys about a couple things. This is a hat that this elderly lady made for me. I love purple and green, so I'm rocking that today. I never even met this lady, and she thought enough about me to make this for me, so I'm rocking it. It's crazy because we live in I call this generation the woke generation. And I'm not talking about the young people that are just born. I'm talking about most adults now. We're in this phase, this fad of everybody being woke, everybody being enlightened, everybody being aware of what's going on, so they say. It's funny because everybody knows everything about what's going on in the world and don't have a clue what's going on within them. I'm saying it again. Everybody is so woke to what's going on in the world, politically and everything else, but they have absolutely no clue as to what's going on within them. I'm just going to drop that right there and leave that for y'all for a second to think about. It's interesting because a redwood tree, a sequoia tree, they don't get to the heights that they get to overnight. It's a process. Years in the making, decades in the making, hundreds of years in the making for them to get to the level or the height that they're at. Why am I talking about that? What does that got to do with life? I meet so many people that tell me, man, Elijah, you know what? You're kind of deep, man, and you're too deep. Do you even lighten up and have fun? It's like, yeah, I enjoy life. I really do. I have a blast. Even if I got to do it by myself most of the time, I have a blast. Woodpeckers outside chipping or knocking, laughing. But the point I was making is that people ask me, how did you get to the point where you're at now? What's the secret? How do you go from living a life that you did, growing up the way that you did, and becoming so full of peace, so full of love, so full of joy and gratitude, and you don't stress over stuff. It's like nothing fazes you. And it pisses a lot of people off that you're not fazed by stuff because you come across as being not caring. When you genuinely care, you just don't allow yourself to get, caught up emotionally like most people do. What's the secret? And I tell people, it's like meditation. It's like, yeah, I meditate. And it's like, no, I'm not talking about go meditate. So you got to understand something. I've been meditating since 1996. 1996, when I first began really getting into meditation. And everything in life is a process. But this woke generation, they don't want to go through the process. They want the shortcut. They ain't got time for all of that. They ain't got time to go through the process. And I laugh at them when they tell me that they ain't got time for that. They want the short version. It's like, hold on, wait a minute. You just spent 5 years in a deadbeat relationship. You just spent 10 years in this relationship where you were neglected, abused verbally and physically and all this other crap. But you're telling me now that you don't have time to go through the process of how to heal, of how to grow, and how to reconnect with yourself? But you got time to spend in deadbeat relationships? You got time, you spent all this time doing dope. You spent all this time abusing your body, sexually, verbally, emotionally. You spent all this time, all these years, tearing yourself down, beating yourself up. You spent decades doing this. And now you're going to come tell me that you're so woke that you ain't got time to go through the process of how to heal, how to reconnect with yourself, how to grow emotionally? You want the short version? You want the short version, and you're woke. Okay. I'm laughing. It ain't funny, though. It ain't funny. But I'm not going to argue with nobody. To each their own. To each their own. You stay woke. Stay woke. I'm going to keep doing me and what works for me. You stay doing you and what works for you. Because obviously, the lifestyle that you've lived hasn't really worked for you, hasn't gotten you where you want to be emotionally, but that's all you know. Do you? To each their own. I'm not here to judge anybody. I'm not here to tell anybody they're right or wrong. We all have our own way of going through things. But the process of growth and development is the same for everybody, for everything. You can't speed the process up. You can't take shortcuts. You can't do it. You could take shortcuts all you want to. Don't get me wrong. But the shortcuts will never get you to reach your full potential. People tell me, man, I meditate. It's like, okay, you missed the point of meditation. When you're starting the journey, when you new to your journey, spiritual journey, when you're new to meditating, you meditate to calm your mind. You meditate to get rid of all the chaos and the noise, to find some peace, to find some quiet. And so you set aside a certain amount of time to meditate. You come up with your own ritual, your own style, your own flavor of how you're going to meditate. Whether you're going to be sitting down, whether you're going to be listening to music, whether you're going to be laying down, whatever you're going to do, you do. And it works for you. And that's great. That's great. But that's not the end result of meditation. That's not the end all be all of meditating. That's just the beginning process. The end result of meditation. And what I mean, you become a master of meditation. You truly understand meditation. When you don't have to set aside time to meditate, because you've already done all of that. You don't have to have a ritual or a certain way to meditate, because you've already done all of that. And so now, because you've done all the hard work, because you've laid the foundation, your life becomes a walking meditation. You could go anywhere and be in a state of meditation. You could be doing anything and be in a state of meditation. I tell people, I'm a walking meditation. Meditating is not something that I do. It's how I live my life. It's my lifestyle. Yeah, sometimes I still set aside time and go in and go through my process. But I understand that I don't have to do that. I understand that I'm beyond that now. Not that I'm better than anybody, but I'm beyond that now. That was the foundation. That was the groundwork to get me to where I'm at emotionally, to get me to where I'm at spiritually. So no matter where I go, no matter what I'm doing, I'm always in a state of meditation. But I had to go through the process. I had to put in the work. It's like a doctor. A doctor spends years in school studying and researching to become a doctor. Once he becomes a doctor, he no longer has to do that type of studying and that research anymore. He still studies, he still researches, he still gets his continued education, but not like he did prior to becoming a doctor. He's already laid the foundation. He's already done all the hard work. Now he's just keeping it going. Same thing in meditation. But in order to get to this state, you have to go through the work. I'm not saying that it takes you 24 years to get to that point. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying, but don't expect that it's going to happen overnight. Don't think that just because you've meditated for a year or 2 years or 3 years that you've arrived at meditating. Don't think that because you meditated for 5 years that you're a master of meditation. To each their own. Again, this is a deeper level of meditation we're talking about. Everybody ain't at this level. Everybody ain't at this point. If you're just starting meditating, if you've just been meditating for a few years, you ain't nowhere near this point. You're not ready for this yet. And you know how you're not ready for this? Because you're still stressed out. Because you're still frustrated. You're still get pissed off about a lot of stupid stuff. See, the beautiful thing about life is life will always show you where you're at. So all the triggers, they're showing you where you're at. So if people could say something to you and it piss you off, you ain't there. If you get pissed off because of people's political or religious beliefs and their posts, you ain't there. If you get pissed off because of people's sexual orientation, you ain't there. If you got a lot of pain and suffering that you haven't dealt with from past relationships and childhood, you ain't there. I don't care how religious you think you are. I don't care how spiritual you think you are. You're not there. You're not there. As long as you're carrying that pain, you're not there. The pain is to show you that you're not there. Humble yourself and learn the lessons that you need to learn. That's what the pain is telling you. That's what the pain is trying to tell you. It's a deeper look into meditation. Deeper look into meditation. My hope and prayer is that you don't be so arrogant and self-righteous into thinking that you're beyond where you're at, and that you humble yourself and be willing to go through the process. I love you guys. Peace.